going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. I am your host, Mistress Carrie. Welcome to the War Room. This is where we hang out every Tuesday night at 8:30. We've been doing it since March 14th of 2020. So we just last week celebrated our 4-year anniversary, which is crazy. Want to welcome everybody on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. A few weeks ago, we started streaming on all platforms simultaneously, and I can see everybody's comments equally. So Vengeance, I see you on Instagram. Travis, I see you on Facebook. What's up, Bish and Carol? You can also watch on YouTube. And if you go to the Cocktails in the War Room page at mistresscarrie.com, the embedded player is there as well. Elsa and Trina are here. Let's see. Feljamin joining us on Instagram as well. So if you're new to the War Room, we have done 268 episodes. We started back on March 14th of 2020. Like I said, we did 80 nights in a row during the height of the pandemic. And then when we launched the Mistress Carrie podcast and mistresscarrie.com, we turned Cocktails in the War Room into a weekly show where we get together to talk about music. I tell you who's going to be on the Mistress Carrie podcast. We debut new merch, whatever it is that we're doing. What's up, Molly? Jason is joining us. Tracy and Johnny Mags joining us on Instagram. What's up, Sean, on Instagram? Elsa joining us on Facebook. Melissa as well. Carrie, the queen of rock and metal. Thank you very much, Sean. So if you're new to the War Room, if you've never joined us before, chime in the comments. Let us know that this is your first episode. And also let us know where you're watching from so that we can see how far the tentacles of Cocktails in the War Room actually goes. Now, for anybody that's new, there is also a co-host every week. Say hi, Wednesday. This is Wednesday, the Goth Pug. That's where you can find her on Instagram. So make sure you're giving Wednesday a follow. We're so close to 1,000 followers, right, Wednesday? We're going to make you Instagram famous. So if you're looking for Wednesday, that's where you can find her on Instagram. Wednesday, your camera is all jacked up. What's going on? There you go. Say hi to everybody. Do you want a cookie? Is that what you want? Is that why you're sitting there so intently? So I apologize for the split screen for anybody on Instagram that is not getting a good look at both of us. The aspect ratio on YouTube and Facebook is different than on Instagram. So you may or may not, if you're watching on Instagram, see all of the graphics and all of the links. You might not get everything. Heidi joining us on Facebook. What's up, MC and War Room family, she says. Sean says, oh my God, she's adorable. Michael Cole says you can listen on the radio. Yeah, for anybody that's joining me on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook that is not aware that I'm back on the radio, there are a bunch of different ways that you can listen to me. Dina says, what's up, Wednesday? Jonathan saying, hello, Wednesday. Keith says, what's up, fuckers? Let's see. Sean says, love your doggy. Sean Curtis on Instagram as well. So I love the fact that now that we're multi-streaming that I can see all of the comments equally, which is fantastic. So this is Wednesday. Make sure you give her a follow on Instagram at Wednesday the Goth Pug. And she has now got quite the collection of booze here in the War Room herself. Here, Wednesday. There you go. Here's a little cookie and say hi to everybody. Everybody have a good St. Patrick's Day. Are you all boozed out? Wednesday got a little Ireland treat at Feel Good Friday at Waterfront Mary on Friday night to add that to her little beverage collection over here. Right, Wednesday? You're a very spoiled dog. Let's see. Keith Trombley says, Meatloaf says hi. Your brother Meatloaf says hi, Wednesday. Your little brother says hello. Heidi says, oh, she is so adorable. Keith says, how about the TikTok I shared to your Twitter account? Hilarious. If you're not following me on Twitter, you can find me at Mistress Carrie on Twitter. And Keith shared a hilarious link of people actually, something we talk about on the Mistress Carrie podcast all the time, talking about the difference between being nice and kind if you're on the West Coast or the East Coast. And it comes up all the time that, yeah, massholes or New Englanders in general are a little rough around the edges, but we are kind. We're just not nice about it. Whereas people in the Midwest and on the West Coast may be nice to you, but they're definitely not kind. So Rachel says St. Pat's Day was dull. I had to babysit. Brett says 48 people. Oh, you guys are counting how many people are watching. You know what's crazy is how many people watch Cocktails in the War Room after the fact. That while the audience that's live and interacting with the show changes from week to week, so many more people watch Cocktails in the War Room afterwards on YouTube, on the Facebook video. They go to mistresscarrie.com. It's kind of crazy. Joshua says, evening, Carrie and War Room. Can't believe it's been 4 years. The happy accident. Yeah, I know. Your dog Wednesday is so cute, says Jessica. Eric says, what's up, Mistress Carrie and War Room? Let's see. Sean Curtis says, had corned beef and cabbage. No ham and cabbage is actually, he says, the tradition. So I did not have either. I did find out through the pandemic, though. My sister and I started doing genealogy on the family, and we did find out that there is Irish on my mom's side. The family immigrated from Cork years ago, but we are so ingrained in the Sicilian side of the family that we never developed that Irish set of traditions, the corned beef and cabbage, the bangers and mash, all of that stuff. Growing up, we never celebrated any of that stuff. And so we were surprised when we found out that we had some Irish in our blood. It was kind of hilarious. Jamie says hello from Newport News, Virginia. That is fantastic. What's up, Kim? John Roberts says, I like your dog, Carrie. Thank you very much. Trina says, Mistress Carrie, watch The Mall. All I can say is Walter helped. Happy 4-year anniversary. Oh, watch The Mail, says Trina. Oh, okay. Yeah, there was nothing in the mail call this week, so I'm assuming it's on the way. Let's see. Sean says, we are from Clare Kiki. I don't know what that means. From County Clare Kiki. Where is that? Corned beef hash is wicked, says Heidi. Yeah, my mom loved that stuff, but we never got a love for it growing up. So Kevin Guthrie says, what's up, MC? Wednesday and family. Eric says Wednesday is great. Yeah, except she's begging for all of the cookies right now. Right, Wednesday? All right, let's show all of the new people all of your tricks. Give me your paw. Thank you. Let me have the other paw. High five. Sit down. Down. Good girl. That's all the cookies now. The cookie pocket is empty. By the way, if you're new to Cocktails in the War Room, there are a bunch of inside jokes and terms that you may hear us use or see in the comments. And if you're not familiar, we don't want to leave you behind. So if you go to mistresscarrie.com and you check out the Cocktails in the War Room section, there's a link to our official glossary called the Dictionary. That's one of the many inside jokes. And you can get caught up right there. So County Clare. Oh, okay. So I'm assuming you're telling me where your family is from in Ireland. Like I said, I don't even know where all those places are. Betty chiming in on YouTube. What's up, Betty? Hello and happy unbirthday, Keith, says Kevin. Thank you very much. Again, another inside joke. Bob Savin saying hello, everybody, from Bob at Irreverent Warriors. What's up, Bob? Speaking of that, I do want to remind everybody about the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock group on Facebook. So if you're watching Cocktails in the War Room on my official Facebook page, make sure that you join the Veterans Rock group. It's a great place, an unbelievable community that we just launched a couple weeks ago to connect veterans with veterans events, to connect the families of veterans to resources, or just to connect people that are interested in veterans organizations or looking for ways to support veterans in their community. This group is giving us a place to be able to share information on resources, on nonprofits, on events, veteran-owned businesses. If you are posting non-veteran related stuff, I will warn you that that stuff is going to get filtered out and deleted. because the whole point of that page is not to get bogged down with, hey, Mistress Carrie, listen to this local band or anything like that. It's supposed to be exclusively veterans content. If you want to send me, music links or anything else that you think that I need to see, go to mistresscarrie.com, click the message the studio button, and you can send me a message right here in the studio. And that's how you can get a hold of me. So thank you, Joshua, for putting the link to the group up in the comments so that if you haven't joined it yet. Sam says, I love the War Room. I support it. Thank you very much. Meatloaf would love to help a veteran, says Keith. One of Wednesday's litter mates, there were 6 of them in total, is Meatloaf. And they look so much alike, it's ridiculous. They follow each other on Instagram as well. Let's see. Michael Cole says, June 21st, Veterans Inc. annual stand down on Grove Street. Make sure you share the link to that event in the Veterans Rock group on Facebook. Molly chiming in on Instagram, going to see Avenged Sevenfold on Thursday at Mohegan Sun. There are so many shows, including a bunch of shows that got added today. And we now have a new venue that we need to list as well. So always keep an eye on the concert and events calendar at mistresscarrie.com because I'm constantly updating it with a bunch of shows that are getting announced. Okay, I got to give you guys a story time. So over the weekend, the end of last week, over the weekend, I started getting all of these alerts on Facebook that people were sharing a specific photograph and commenting on a specific photograph. And so when I went to look what picture it actually was, it's a really old picture that has been up on my Facebook page for 15 plus years since the Mistress Carrie Facebook page launched, because the picture is older than Facebook. And for some reason, all of a sudden, this picture just hit the interwebs. And I have a feeling that I know why. So then people started asking me, Mistress Carrie, is this picture real? And what's the story behind this picture? So I commented a couple of times and said, I will tell you the story about this picture on Cocktails in the War Room. So the picture I'm talking about is the picture of Chad Kroeger from Nickelback rubbing my feet backstage at a WAAF Halloween party in Boston. Now, I'm fairly certain that this was the Halloween party in 2000. It may have been 99, but I'm pretty sure it was 2000. This is backstage at the Roxy, which is now called Royale. I believe the party was Three Doors Down, Nickelback. I'm trying to remember what other band was on the lineup. If you guys were at that Halloween party, chime in the comments and correct me, but I'm pretty sure it was 2000. You guys will see that, well, I wasn't wearing the suit jacket, but I went dressed as like a businesswoman to the AAF Halloween party. I put my hair up in a bun. I had pearls on, glasses, a business suit. It was a dare by my then general manager, Julie Kahn. And I was broadcasting. I was doing nights at the time at WAAF. So I was broadcasting live from the Halloween party. The line was down Tremont Street in Boston. These Halloween parties, you used to have to win your way in. You couldn't buy tickets. So you had to win the tickets from sponsors of the party by calling in and winning. And so everybody came in costumes. The costumes used to be insane. We used to give away like $1,000 grand prize for the best costume that night. And so I went dressed up as like a businesswoman in a business suit. And because it was dark outside, because my hair was pulled up, I was walking up and down the line of people getting into the Halloween party, and people didn't know it was me. They didn't recognize me because, again, it was dark, my hair was pulled up, and I was dressed like a corporate, like accountant. And so I was wearing like, Wednesday obviously is not a fan of this story. I was wearing heels, which is not something I do very often because I hate wearing heels. And anybody that has listened to my show over the years, you know that I have 2 different size feet, that I have bad feet, and I just don't like wearing like stiletto heels and whatever. It is just not my thing. So because I was broadcasting live at the Halloween party, I was doing backstage interviews. Now, this is way before, look at this photograph, Nickelback. It's before they were the biggest band in the world and before they became the most hated band in the world. They were just a new band at the time. They weren't even headlining the Halloween party. I'm pretty sure Three Doors Down was headlining. And so I was backstage interviewing the bands. And I was complaining about my costume and how uncomfortable it was and how much my feet hurt while I was interviewing Chad Kroeger from Nickelback. And he was like, put your feet up here and I'll rub your feet for you. And somebody with a film camera got a picture of Chad Kroeger rubbing, that's the Bigfoot, rubbing the Bigfoot. Josh says it was not 99. 99 was Biohazard, Danzig, and Corrosion of Conformity. I won my tickets from you at the Sears Town Mall in 99. Then I'm almost positive it was Halloween of 2000. So if anybody was at that Halloween party, fill me in. Louise says, I love Nickelback. Kind of reminds me of Godsmack when they started. Yeah, this is the kind of thing that these were the bands that WAAF used to play when they were brand new bands. And then it's just one in a very long list of bands that became huge that got their start on a few different rock stations around the country that really helped to bring them to the next level. And AAF was one of those stations. Heidi says, oh my God, I was there. Mark Bishop says, hey, Carrie, didn't Corey Taylor do the same thing? Corey Taylor did more than rub my feet. Chad just rubbed my feet. But to get back to this picture over the weekend, I think somehow this picture showed up in some kind of search for mistress and foot rubbing and foot worship, and all of a sudden ended up on Fetish Talk, and then all of a sudden started getting this flood of traffic. People wondering if it's a photoshopped picture because they obviously couldn't believe that the Chad Kroeger of today, being the famous rock star, Grammy winner, millions of albums sold Chad Kroeger, would be rubbing someone's feet like that. But he did back then. It was actually his idea. I'm going to have to go back and find the audio from this interview. I probably have it archived somewhere on a cassette. But we were live on the air and I was talking to him. I don't know what I'm looking at in this picture. But again, we didn't have camera phones back then, so we weren't capturing every single thing on video. TJ says, RIP to AAF, FNX, and BCN. Sean says, I miss that old radio station. Corey said, I remember going to the beach party when Godsmack headlined. People were supposed to dress like they were at the beach. I was dressed in a wetsuit with a surfboard, he said. Yeah, Trina says, creepy. It's creepy that all of a sudden the picture showed up in all of these searches and people didn't believe that this photo is real. Now, I had mentioned this in years passing when Nickelback would come to town and I would always ask Chad, do you want to rub my feet again? And he would always turn me down because I don't think he's a foot guy. But at the time, he was willing to rub my feet because my feet hurt from my Halloween party. So Michael Cole said, Corey Taylor did what? Look, Corey is a sober, in recovery, married man now. After Loco Bazooka 99, Corey was not any of those things. And we may or may not have been drinking too much Jägermeister, and he may or may not have come in contact with my foot. I'm not getting into it right now. Someday you can go back and listen to some old Corey Taylor interviews. He and I have talked about it in the past, but it's hilarious. Bish says, look at this photograph. Sean says, I miss AAF so much. It's just not the same. I totally get it. But so I wanted to address this because there are a lot of people that have been like debating whether or not like Chad Kroeger from Nickelback has a mistress, if he's got a foot fetish, that all of a sudden this picture is showing up on fetish sites. And to set the record straight, yes, that is me. Yes, that is Chad. I can tell you exactly where it happened. Now it's been confirmed that it's Halloween 2000. And yes, it's real. The craziest thing in the world that this story and this picture just hit the interwebs like it did. Heidi says, oh my God, that sounds like Corey Taylor. Eric says, oh my God, did he suck your toes? I will not confirm nor deny that fact. You always have to put your best foot forward, says Bish. Exactly. Will says, I love the Pike, so keep it up. Absolutely. Chad did have a mistress. Well, that is true. This is before he was married to Avril Lavigne. Like, this is Leader of Men Nickelback, like back in the day. Exactly. So, thank you to everybody that was defending me in all of the comments. Like, yes, that's really Mistress Carrie. I don't know why she's wearing that crazy outfit. Yeah. So had to step away for a little while. Jonathan said that he's supposed to come back. It's a weird toe fetish thing. Yeah, there are a lot of people that have foot fetishes. I have been asked many, many times to do cameo videos with my feet because I have 2 different size feet and people think it's insane. It just is what it is. My husband just shakes his head and he's like, whatever. So setting the record straight, end of conversation. Yes, Chad Kruger from Nickelback rubbed my feet backstage at the AAF Halloween party almost 24 years ago. Need to get Chad back on I need to get Chad on the podcast so that we can reminisce about the old story. So, all right. If you are watching Cocktails in the War Room and you're wondering where you can come and hang out with me, there are going to be some opportunities. So you can hear me every weekday afternoon on 100 FM The Pike in Worcester. You can go to pikefm.com and download the Pike app if you want to listen wherever you are. The Hair Fest is coming up in July. It's going to be at Indian Ranch in Webster. The link and the full lineup, including Leopard, the headliner this year, is all up at pikefm.com. And it's also on the event calendar at mistresscarrie.com. The big gig is coming up fast. The end of next month. Now, we announced the big gig months and months ago, and it's coming up fast. Mike Shue and I are going to be the master and mistress of ceremonies at the DCU Center in Worcester on April 27th. It's a Saturday night with Stain, Seether, Asking Alexandria, and Tim Montana. Tickets are on sale now. The official after party is going to be at Off the Rails after the big gig is over with Paper Cut, the Lincoln Park Tribute Band. Tickets to the after party are separate. So if you're going to go to the big gig and you want to get into Off the Rails after, go and get your tickets now because they're being sold separately. And once they're sold out, the after party is going to be sold out. But Mike Shue and I are going to be at the official after party as well. There are some events that are in the works for me up in Portland, Maine. You can hear me every weekday afternoon on 1063thebone.com. You can download the Bone app. So it depends on how you like your rock. If you like your rock a little more classic rock, you can listen to me on the Pike. If you like your rock a little heavier and newer, you can listen to me on the Bone. Both of these are linked at mistresscarrie.com, and all of the details are up there. So there you go. Want to remind you guys, I'm going to be out and about this weekend. Coming up on Sunday, I'll be at Florian Hall in Boston, commemorating the 10-year anniversary of the passing of firefighter Michael Kennedy, who was a member of the Boston Fire Department. He was killed in the line of duty in the Back Bay fire 10 years ago with Lieutenant Ed Walsh. He was a friend of mine. A lot of his friends are going to be there. He's a Marine veteran. He was a big brother. He did so much charity work, including volunteering for the Boston Firefighters Burn Foundation, which is how I got to know Mikey Kennedy. So they're having a memorial celebration. It's happening this Sunday. It's actually happening from noon to 5, not 2 to 5. And it's at Florian Hall in Boston. The updated information is on the events calendar at mistresscarrie.com. So if you want to come out and support veterans, there's going to be live music, a 50-50 raffle, cash bar, vendors. Mikey's family is going to be there. A lot of members of the Boston Fire Department are going to be there. There are going to be a lot of veterans there celebrating Mikey's life. And he was just an amazing guy. I still am just in awe that it's been 10 years since he passed. And so I would really like to get a big crowd of people together to celebrate Mikey Kennedy. So please come and hang out with us on Sunday from noon to 5 at Florian Hall. Okay. One of the things we always do here in Cocktails in the War Room is we always try to up your bar game, up your cocktail game, help you use some of the alcohols and bottles that you may have in the bar. And so we're always giving you different recipes to kind of help you be more fancy. Make sure you put your pinky out, by the way. All right, so this one's called the Sydney. And it's 2 ounces of rye and or bourbon. So for anybody like me that thinks brown liquor is dangerous, this one could be a little dangerous for you. Ow, Wednesday, you're scratching me. So this one's called Sydney. 2 ounces of rye or bourbon. It's also a half an ounce of dry vermouth, a splash of yellow chartreuse, a dash of orange bitters, a twist of lemon to garnish. It says stir the ingredients in a mixing glass, then strain into a cocktail glass, add the lemon twist, and serve. And so we're always looking for ways to garnish because we feel like cocktails should have a snack with them. So obviously, if it's got orange and lemon in it, you can, if you're going to garnish with lemon, you could always put an orange wedge in there. You could always do some kind of dried orange candy. You could do an orange flavored sugar rim if you want, or some kind of biscuit that is complementary with the citrus tone of it. And always a cherry. I mean, if it's got rye or bourbon in it, you can always throw a cherry in there too. Sean says that is in Dorchester. Sean agreed. However, the mailing address of Florian Hall, even though it's technically in Dorchester, is Boston. And if you search for it on a lot of GPSs, Florian Hall says that it's in Boston based on the GPS. So I know it's in Dorchester. A lot of other people do as well. But if you look up Florian Hall, it'll say that the address is Boston. So what's up, Fred? Chiming in on Facebook in the comments. Jonathan says, it looks like your light is flickering. Is it? It shouldn't be. I haven't noticed that the light's flickering. That's very weird. We need a drinking emoji added to like the drink recipe options. Melissa, that's a good idea. I don't know why they don't, excuse me. I don't know why they don't have more emoji options when you go to like something on Facebook. There's the crying, laughing one, the angry one, the heart one, the thumbs up one. Jonathan says Dorchester. Joshua says, I don't see the flicker. I don't see it either, so I don't know what's going on. Wednesday. Can you just come and sit on my lap, please, then? If you're just going to, you want to say hi? Say hi to everybody on YouTube and Instagram that are new to Cocktails in the War Room. And to the War Room family that's on Facebook that's been here for a while. All right, guys, let's talk about last week's podcast episode. So if you're new to the Mistress Carrie podcast, or you're new to Cocktails in the War Room, every Tuesday night, I tell you who's coming up on the podcast this week. And we also talk about last week's episode. Last week's episode welcomed Rick Allen from Def Leppard and his wife, Lauren Monroe, who are the founders of the Raven Drum Foundation. Let me move this logo over here. They are the founders of the Raven Drum Foundation, who raise money and actually help treat first responders and veterans through music, which is amazing. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to have them on the show. They were also playing together at City Winery Boston last week, which they did. And I don't know what the hell is going on with my throat. And of course, Def Leppard is going to be back later this year because they're on the Summer Stadium tour at Fenway Park with Journey and with Heart. So I wanted to talk to Rick Allen and Lauren about drumming, the work that they do, the volunteer work that they do, the fundraising work that they do, the shows that they play together. And one of the things that I did was talk to Rick Allen about, after they released Hysteria, that I turned 16 and they were on the In the Round arena tour for the Hysteria album. Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime album was out. Queensryche opened up for Def Leppard, and they played 2 nights, sold out at what is now the DCU Center in Worcester. It used to be called the Worcester Centrum. And I got to go the first night. My parents went out of town, and I had permission to go with friends. My aunt was watching us, and I had so much fun at the show the first night that I got out of school. My friends got me a ticket, And I left my aunt a note saying, I went to the show again. Please don't be mad. I'll be home later. This is in the era of no cell phones, obviously. My grandfather showed up at the house to check up on me when I was home, found the note. My parents just happened to call to check in. And my grandfather read him the note. And obviously I got bagged for sneaking out of the house and running away for the night to go see the second Def Leppard show. So when I got home, my grandfather was there waiting for me. My parents called. They were infuriated. My dad screamed at me. They were very upset. We always had big, extravagant birthday parties growing up. It was something that my mom and dad always did. And they made me cancel my birthday party. They did, however, still get me a cake. You will notice the Def Leppard Hysteria concert shirt in the 16th birthday photo because I had just gotten it. And because they canceled the party, they canceled gifts. My dad and my mom bought me a gold necklace with a cross on it and said, you better fucking pray you never do that again. That is my 16th birthday party, okay? So somebody caught a picture of me blowing out the candles of my 16th birthday cake in my Def Leppard t-shirt. So this is the birthday in question that I talked to Rick Allen about. It just so happens that when I was in the 6th grade, I also had my Def Leppard Pyromania shirt and my jean jacket, which was like my favorite thing ever. So for some reason, I have these two iconic photos of my youth, both wearing Def Leppard shirts, which I wanted to share with you tonight. So there's my Def Leppard Pyromania shirt and my Def Leppard Hysteria shirt. I still have the Hysteria shirt. I do not know what happened to this Pyromania shirt. I have no idea. So Rick Allen and Lauren Monroe, it was great having them on the show. They were super cool. Rick Allen is promising me a birthday cake. He did wish me a happy 16th birthday all these years later. So they were pretty good sports about it. So I thought that was kind of hilarious. So that was episode 197 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. That came out last week. Episode 198 of the podcast comes out at midnight tonight, and it welcomes Keith Wallen from Breaking Benjamin to the show. Now, not only is Keith the guitar player from Breaking Benjamin just this week announced their tour with Stained. They're going to be up at the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion in September with Daughtry and Lakeside. But Keith Wallen is also going out on a solo tour in support of his upcoming new solo album. And he's got a couple of dates in New England, including at the Webster Theater in Hartford and at the Paradise Rock Club in Boston. So not only are the Breaking Benjamin dates in New England up on the events calendar, but you can also check out the solo dates for Keith Wallen. Brett says, you do not look 16 there. Did I look younger or older? Because I definitely was 16 there. Do you still have these shirts? Trina wants to know. I have the Hysteria Tour shirt. I do not have the Pyromania shirt, and I don't know where it is. That was like my favorite shirt when I was in the 6th grade. I think I got it for Christmas. I don't know what happened to it, but Bish says, I'm currently wearing my Dropkick Murphy shirt that I got at the show on Sunday. That is fantastic. Lou says, sounds like my upbringing. You must be Italian. There you go. Let's see. Any advice on being 50, Mistress Carrie? Eric wants to know. So look, we have had this conversation in the past, right? It's something that I have talked to people about. I had this conversation when I was in Vegas a couple of weeks ago with Ash Costello from New Year's Day. And my outlook on aging, there are a lot of things, right, that we can do to try to fight the clock, to fight time in general. One of those things you can do is dye your hair. We all know that my hair doesn't grow out of my head purple, okay? Other than that, I have not done anything besides like wear makeup to try and make myself not look my age. And while I reserve the right to change my mind in the future, part of the reason why I have that mindset is I think with social media, plastic surgery, camera phones and filters. I think impossible beauty standards that people see online and on television. I think the era of the Kardashians has been incredibly unhealthy for a lot of girls growing up. And so I just kind of looked at turning 50. I had a really hard time when I turned 30. So I'm not going to lie that aging has not done anything to me psychologically, because it does. When I turned 30, I had a really hard time turning 30. When I turned 40, it didn't really affect me at all. I have heard that men have a hard time turning 40, whereas women have a hard time turning 30. I have heard that in the past. Turning 50, and to go back to the original question about do I have any advice for anybody that's turning 50, we've talked about this in the past, including my friend firefighter Mikey Kennedy, right, that we're having the event for on Sunday. I don't look at youth as being something special, because everybody gets to be young, right? Unless you're Benjamin Button, being young is not promised. You get to be young. You're born a baby and you get to be young. Now, hopefully you survive childhood, and as you get older, it is a gift to get old. When I was younger, the scars from all of my surgeries made me super self-conscious, because I was like the first person out of anybody that I was friends with that had an operation, or 2 or 3. And so the scars on my back and my legs, my knees, my feet, I was super self-conscious about them because nobody else in school had them. And that made me different. And back then, growing up, you hit puberty, different is bad. You're just trying to fit in. And as I've gotten older, I think like a lot of people, we have lost people young. People that shouldn't have died at the age they did, whether it be car accidents, motorcycle accidents, overdoses, violent crimes. There are just a number of reasons why people are lost young in battle, in service to this country, in the line of duty. And so I have come to the realization and kind of acceptance that A, I can't be young again. You don't get to do that. And B, not everybody gets to be old. When I was younger, I used to feel sorry for old people. My grandmothers, my great-grandmothers, that they were wrinkly and old and couldn't move as quickly, and they were so old-fashioned. And I had a really hard time as a young kid kind of understanding the concept of being old. And as I get older, and as the definition of age changes, because when I was young, the Golden Girls were old. Well, the Golden Girls were in their early 50s. If you look at what your 50s looked like in the era of the Golden Girls versus Jennifer Aniston, J-Lo, like these are people in their 50s now. These are women in their 50s now. Me, I am in my 50s now. There are women that lie about their age. I don't begrudge anybody for doing anything to try and look younger. Rick says, I'm going to be 60 in August. Not everybody gets to be 60. I want to live to be 100 because I think that would be really cool. And I am definitely not ready to throw in the towel. But I look at the concept of getting old as something that I'm very fortunate to get to do. And once I kind of changed my mindset on it, and there are cruel people on social media, right? When I put up pictures and people will comment, the keyboard warriors in their mom's basement, and go, damn, you got old. It's like, are you trying to insult me? I know I got old. I've been working in rock radio for 33 years this year. And I'm aware that I've gotten old. Like, is that a jab? Are you trying to hurt my feelings? Like, I'm fucking aware of it. But advice on turning 50, Long story short, change your mindset about turning 50. Be grateful that you're turning 50. Remember all of the people that you know that never got a 50th birthday because they didn't live that long, and enjoy it. Lisa says 55 here. Bish says you look damn good for your 50s, Carrie. Thank you. Good lighting, good angles. A little makeup never hurt. Marcy says 49 in May. Vicky says 54 coming up. Mr. Cole says you guys are kids. But change your mindset when it comes to aging, because we only get to do it once. Don't squander it either. And one of the things that I'm trying to do more and more is take better care of myself, especially because of my mom's illness and seeing my mom at such a young age succumb to Alzheimer's and dementia, and to see what it has robbed her of. I think my mom was one of those people of that generation that was like, you know what, I'm going to work my fingers to the bone for retirement, right? That I get to live and do all the things I've always dreamed of when I retire. And my mom's retirement was taken from her because of her illness. And so I try to eat better. I try to manage stress. I try to get sleep. I try to live every day like it is not promised, the best I can. I'm still saving for retirement, obviously. I'm not out being completely irresponsible, but I think we as a society ping pong between these two extremes. Live in the moment. Don't worry about tomorrow at all. And do you have enough to retire? And there's the in the middle stuff. There's the today stuff that I think we need to look a little more closely at. Brett says, look at Mick Jagger and Paul McCartney. F it. Look, Keith Richards. So what's funny, you bring up the Rolling Stones. Keith Wallen and I actually had this very conversation on this week's podcast episode, because we were talking about the Beatles, and then we started talking about the Rolling Stones and that era in rock. We were talking about the Rolling Stones tour, and that the guys are in their 80s and that their tour is sponsored by AARP. Just embrace age. Society is going to tell you that you have to be. I've had people say, Carrie, you need to grow up. Your hair looks ridiculous, purple in your 50s. To you. And I don't care if you think it's ridiculous or not. I like it. My husband likes it. The kids like it. Kind of all I care about. So, right, Wednesday? Where'd you go? Oh, you're going to go up on my shoulder. So, live every day. This week's episode goes live at midnight tonight. Keith Wallen from Breaking Benjamin, episode 198. It's crazy that in a couple of weeks we're going to be celebrating episode 200. It's just insane. Insane. If you subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast, not only do you get the full-length episodes every Wednesday, but you get the sit rep, which comes Monday through Friday, super early in the morning. Kim telling me that the Bruins are up 5-2. Fantastic. Joshua says, tell people like that to eat a dick. Carol says, we love your hair. Tell the haters to fuck off, says Chris. No effing way, says Lou. Louise says, love the hair. Jessica says, look at Ozzy. I think Ozzy's letting his hair go gray. He's dyed his hair for years, obviously. And it's so crazy when you see people that have dyed their hair for years and years, and then you all of a sudden see him with gray hair. Just Ozzy. Sean says, love the purple hair, Carrie. Kevin says, your hair is beautiful. Thank you. Much love to Linda, the hairdresser. So you get the sit rep early in the morning, Monday through Friday. Rock news, music headlines, entertainment updates, new releases, movies, streaming stuff, albums, all of that stuff. If you're looking to listen to the Mistress Carrie podcast, there are a bunch of places that you can listen to it at. Wherever you subscribe to get podcasts, you can subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast, Podcast Republic, Downcast, Beyond Pod, Pod Cruncher, Amazon, Pandora, Pocket Cast, Apple, Google, Spotify, Odyssey, iHeart, all of those places. So you can check out the podcast anywhere. The full-length audio episodes are available on YouTube, and you can just always go to mistresscarrie.com and press play on any of the players. The podcast still holding strong at 149 countries. We're going to have to pop some champagne when we hit 150 countries. Speaking of champagne, if you're celebrating your birthday today, you're sharing it with Paul Atkinson from The Zombies. You're also sharing your birthday with somebody that's been on the show before, Billy Sheehan from Mr. Big and the Winery Dogs, and David Lee Roth's solo band, and also Bruce Willis, who you'll remember had a blues band. It is quite the accomplished harmonica player. So happy birthday, and happy unbirthday to Keith. Have you ever heard of, or are you a fan of Steel Panther? Molly wants to know. Of course I know who the guys in Steel Panther are. Absolutely. Music news. Serj Tankian's memoir coming out in May called Down with the System. Pearl Jam's new album, Dark Matter, coming out on April 19th. Congratulations to those guys. The title track, the #1 rock song in the country. AC/DC, their Power Trip Tour, still only a European tour as of now. Still waiting to find out if we're going to get North American tour dates. The new Linkin Park Greatest Hits collection, Paper Cuts, is coming out on April 12th. The new Cage the Elephant album, Neon Pill, is coming out on May 19th. Slash is getting ready to release his blues-oriented album, Orgy of the Damned, on May 17th. Killing Floor, featuring Brian Johnson from AC/DC and Steven Tyler from Aerosmith, is the first single. And the video for that is up on YouTube. New Jelly Roll. New album's coming. Massive arena tour this fall is coming. He's releasing different versions of songs based on where it's getting released, including on country radio and rock radio. So lots going on with Jelly Roll. Incubus, Morning View. That tour is rolling into the TD Garden on August 31st. They are reissuing the Morning View album with a bunch of bonus content. They're going to play the album in its entirety, plus all the hits on the Morning View tour. Weezer, The Flaming Lips, and Dinosaur Jr. are going to be at the TD Garden September 10th, and the aforementioned Jelly Roll is going to be at the TD Garden coming up on September 26th. The DCU Center, we were talking about the big gig earlier on April 27th. Tickets on sale for that. Stain, Seether, Asking Alexandria, Tim Montana. Silver Scream Con is coming up September 13th through the 15th. That's going to be in the Convention Center. Eric says the new Jelly Roll already came out. Drink. I know it's a freaking typo. I didn't put the info up there. The song Friendly Fire is amazing. Talking about Linkin Park. It absolutely is. Heidi, I'm drinking. Melissa wants to know any news on the Vibes tour for Godsmack coming to New England. Melissa, not Vibes tour, but I have Godsmack dates that I'm going to tell you about tonight. So Silver Scream Con, that's going to be at the Convention Center at the DCU. Those tickets are on sale now. And Iron Maiden, November 6th at the DCU Center as well. Big Night Live has got Crown the Empire and Starset coming. The Deathless Tour, that is coming up on March 22nd. So this is next week. All of these shows, by the way, are on the events calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Just a massive list of shows headed to the Xfinity Center, and it continues to grow all the freaking time. There's just so many shows that are coming. There's just too many to list, except I did because they're on the events calendar. Adam Ant at the Wilbur, April 1st. Steve Vai and Joe Satriani at the Orpheum, April 5th. Greta Van Fleet at Mohegan Sun coming up August 2nd. These Godsmack dates just got announced today. They go on sale on Friday. This is plugged in. So this is not the Vibes tour. This is Godsmack with Nothing More and Flat Black, which is Jason Hook's band, formerly of Five Finger Death Punch. 2 New England shows. If you're in Massachusetts, you're driving to both of them. The Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion on July 26th and, July 25th at the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion, July 26th, that's up in Bangor, Maine at the Maine Savings Amphitheater. So there are no shows scheduled for Massachusetts as of yet, nothing in Connecticut, nothing in Rhode Island, nothing in Vermont. But 2 New England shows from Godsmack just got announced today. The details are already up on the concert calendar. The links to get the tickets, they go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Betty says, don't ever act your age. I am trying not to. Let's see. Gotta go, guys. Gotta get back to work, says Eric. Have a good night, Eric. So in love with Greta Van Fleet, says Trina. MASH shows in August, nothing yet. For Godsmack, nothing yet. Leader Bank Pavilion shows I Prevail in Hailstorm. That's coming up July 16th. Slash's Serpents Tour, that festival. It's going to be blues-centric. That's going to be August 1st. The 311 Unity Tour with AWOL Nation and Neon Trees, and Bush's Loaded Greatest Hits Tour, all coming to the Leader Bank Pavilion. Those tickets are all on sale, by the way. That's the old Harbor Lights, the tent on the harbor. The Sasanta Tour featuring Primus, Pussifer, and A Perfect Circle is going to be at the Box Center Wang Theater coming up April 2nd and 3rd. Dead Poets Society at the Sinclair in Cambridge on May 6th. Rolling Stones, we're talking about the tour, sponsored by AARP, Gillette Stadium, May 30th. Dripix saying, heard you're hosting for Asking Alexandria and Company April 28th. You mean April 27th at the DCU Center? Yes, I am going to be there on Instagram. I Prevail will be amazing. Totally agree. Can we talk about Hatebreed in September at Big Night Live? Yes. That is a show that I meant to add to this listing today because Hatebreed just announced their 30th anniversary shows. Hootie and the Blowfish, Collective Soul, Bare Naked Ladies, and Edwin McCain at Fenway. The Foos, this one's sold out. Blink-182 at Fenway. Def Leppard, Journey, and Heart. This Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins, Rancid, and the Linda Linda Show is sold out. And then Pearl Jam, if you can get tickets, they're like $500. It's insane. Pearl Jam, 2 shows at Fenway coming up in September. Let's see. Palladium in Worcester, Queensryche and Auburn Saint coming up at the end of April. Maylene and the Sons of Disaster on May 18th. Also, NoFX, the finale tour is going to be at Campanelli Stadium in Brockton. And that's going to be 2 shows, August 31st and September 1st. MGM Music Hall at Fenway, Guster at the end of the month. Judas Priest, April 25th. The Black Crowes on the 28th. Bad Religion and Social D, May 7th. Gary Clark Jr. on June 7th. And Kings of Leon coming up in September. Going to both Metallica shows, says Rick. Molly says, my dad used to be in a local band in Mass. In the 90s, met Sully from Godsmack. It was, if you were playing in a band in the 90s anywhere in New England, you bumped into the guys from Godsmack. House of Blues, Blackberry Smoke, March 21st. Architects, May 6th. Black Veil Brides on May 8th. Hatebreed with Carcass, Harm's Way, Crypta. Those tickets go on sale this Friday. The Hatebreed show is at the House of Blues, not at Big Night Live. It's at the House of Blues. So there you go, right there. Those tickets go on sale this Friday. All right. Paradise Rock Club, Matisyahu. Typo. Damn it. Hold on. I got to open some more ginger beer. I'm mixing a little cocktail over here. Hold on. I have to stir this with my finger. Matisyahu's a typo. Girls' School, end of the month. And Keith Wallen, Paradise Rock Club, July 22nd. My guest on the podcast this week. Let's see. Okay. City Winery Boston, Jesus Jones on April 2nd. Soto Beeler on April 2nd. April 6th is Soto Beeler. 10,000 Maniacs, April 28th. Hawthorne Heights on May 6th. Social, everybody drink. Okay, fine. Social. Heidi says you need to have Seven Dust on your podcast again. I got to get John Connolly back on. John Connolly from Seven Dust is running the Boston Marathon again this year, so I got to get him back on the show before he runs. Okay. New venue listed on Cocktails in the War Room now. This is huge. Anybody that grew up going to concerts, I remember the Tattoo the Earth tour back in 2000 at the old Suffolk Downs. They have redone it. and they are reopening Suffolk Downs. The Boston Wounded Vet Run is back, leaving or ending up at Suffolk Downs, I should say. It is now called The Stage at Suffolk Downs, and it is a whole new website, a whole new look, and a place to see outdoor shows in downtown Boston. A day to remember. The story so far, 4 years strong. This show just got announced today. Tickets go on sale this Friday, March 22nd. The show is coming up in June. If you want to see shows outdoors in the city, The Stage at Suffolk Downs is... We got another venue, which is just crazy. So super excited that there's going to be concerts at Suffolk Downs again. I remember going to see a ton of... The Beatles played at Suffolk Downs. Like, they've been having concerts there for years. They closed Suffolk Downs. I was afraid the concerts were lost there, but it's all been redone, which is amazing. We did Tattoo the Earth there. We did big field days there back in the AAF days. So super excited. A day to remember. The story so far, 4 years strong. Tickets go on sale this Friday. And yes, this show is up on the events calendar at mistresscarrie.com as well. No, I'm not making a dark and stormy. I'm making a Moscow Mule. All of these socials, I was drinking and almost missed my exit on the highway. Keith, stop it. Poor Route 1, Trina says. Yeah, well, Route 1 it's going to be challenging. Cannot wait to go there. Such a throwback. Exactly. My guess is the Dropkicks will be doing a St. Patrick's Day show at Suffolk Downs. I don't know if the Dropkicks are going to chant St. Patrick's Day outdoors. It showed up on my Facebook thing. Last year, we got like 2 feet of snow this week last year. So I think outdoor shows in March is a little risky to do in New England. So I don't think that the Stage at Suffolk Downs is going to open in March. I could see the Dropkicks putting together like a big punk festival and doing it in the summertime, but I can't imagine they're going to do St. Patrick's Day there. All right, new release is coming out on Friday. There's a bunch of stuff. There's the Cinquanta show. That's A Perfect Circle, Pussifer, and Failure. This is the show that they put together 10 years ago for Maynard James Keenan's 50th birthday. Now the Santa tour that's going to be at the Box Center Wang Theater is for Maynard's 60th birthday. But the concert album is coming out this Friday. Alice in Chains, Jar of Flies EP, the 30th anniversary reissue is coming out this Friday. The Butthole Surfers releasing a bunch of reissues. There's also The Cure releasing the 30th anniversary reissue of Paris. Gary Clark Jr. is releasing JPEG Raw, and we were just talking about him playing at the MGM Music Hall at Fenway. And the Jesus and Mary Chain releasing Glasgow Eyes. So these are all coming out this Friday. Mail call, which is why Wednesday's sitting right over here on the couch. No mail call this week. Sorry, Wednesday. No mail call this week, but I was told we have to keep an eye out on the mail now. So Melissa says, see possible snow this Friday and Saturday right now. See, it's exactly what I'm talking about. I don't think that they're going to chance outdoor shows. That's why they don't open the Xfinity Center or the Leader Bank Pavilion this early in the year. It's too risky. And a lot of the outdoor tours don't even want to route their way through here. In the Northeast this early in the season, because it's just, even in April, even though the temps are warmer and it's not going to be snow, it still gets too cold at night. So I just don't see that happening. So no mail call this week. Sorry, Wednesday. But Wednesday did get her St. Patrick's Day treats at Waterfront Mary's for Feel Good Friday. All right. The drumsticks are on the way. I have also been working with Latini Creative Solutions on some new merch ideas, and we are hoping to have some new merch produced by the time of the big gig. So nothing yet. Backstage pass holders, you'll get to see some mock-ups, I think, by the end of this month, but there is a bunch of new stuff coming. Chad Brandolini at Vader Percussion is telling me that the drumsticks are getting close to going into production, which I'm super excited about. So the drumsticks are on the way. Okay, speaking of the Backstage Passes, Backstage Pass holders get exclusive monthly live streams. You find out who's booked on the podcast before anybody else, so you can submit questions. You get travel blog updates. You also get early access to event tickets and information, exclusive concert ticket giveaways. Backstage Pass holders have access to Cage the Elephant tickets right now to see Cage the Elephant at the Xfinity Center coming up on August 22nd. You also get merch discount codes, which you will get when new merch items come out. If you want to get a Backstage Pass, you can get it at patreon.com/Mistress Carrie, or just click the Patreon logo at mistresscarrie.com. And that's one of the many places that you can find me online. Obviously, if you just go to mistresscarrie.com, all of these links and all of this information is there. But Twitter, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Cameo, YouTube, Patreon. Download the Pike app if you want to hear me every weekday afternoon in Worcester on 100 FM The Pike, or you can listen anywhere, but from the Pike. And you can also download the Bone app or go to 1063thebone.com, and you can hear me every weekday afternoon on 1063 The Bone out of Portland, Maine. Please keep an eye on the mail, says Denise. Thank you very much. Oh, you know I will. Working down the Cape, nothing is open right now. Exactly. Will you sign the sticks? If you want me to sign them, I'll sign them for you. Sure, why not? Yes, they are called bitch sticks, and they are going to be amazing. When are we meeting this month? Marcy wants to know. I don't know yet. I'm working on it because of Easter weekend and everything going on. I have been waiting for plane tickets to get purchased because Mr. C is going to be traveling over the next couple of weeks, and we might be having some visits. So normally we have our live streams on Sundays, but we might not be able to have it on a Sunday because I might be traveling with him. So I don't know yet, but I will let you guys know soon. All right, guys, don't forget episode 198 of the Mistress Carrie podcast is going live at midnight tonight, featuring Keith Wallen. Oh, no, that's the recap. Sorry. That was last week. This week, Keith Wallen from Breaking Benjamin is my guest this week on the podcast. Episode 198 goes live at midnight tonight. So there you go. All right, guys. Thank you to everybody joining us on Instagram. Thank you to everybody joining us on YouTube, everybody joining us on Facebook. Cocktails in the War Room goes live at 8:30 Eastern every Tuesday night. I am warning you, though, I'm going to have to take at least one Tuesday off in April. I will fill you in on why that's going to happen on a later episode, but there you go. So, social, cheers. Great to see you guys again. Thank you so much for joining me here in the War Room every Tuesday night. Wednesday, why are you scratching me? Can you say goodnight to everybody, please? If I give you this last cookie that I saved for you? You want to get down, go eat your cookie? That's what I thought. All right, guys. I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for hanging out in the War Room. Don't forget, follow Wednesday on Instagram at Wednesday the Goth Pug. Look, I'll show you where she is right now, eating that last cookie. And also join the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock Group on Facebook so that you can stay up to date with all of the veterans causes, nonprofits, organizations, veteran-owned businesses. That's what the Facebook group is for. So it's Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock, and make sure you join the group. And more details on events coming up next week. All right, good night, guys. I'll see you later. Say goodnight, Wednesday. Good night, Wednesday.